Hey, it's KB, and in this episode, I'm going to get in a street joke showdown with a good dear friend of mine, Pete Lipsey, comic and TikTok star. I'm going to warn you, though, these are not for the faint of heart, and there's pretty good chance there's going to be some profanity in there. So keep the kids away, and then after that, we'll have a news update and my usual top 5 things when the KB show, Unemployed show, starts.
It's KB's Unemployed sheet. He's unemployed and didn't know what to do, so he started a shit. Talks about stuff to kill time. He didn't know what to call it, so he called it KB's Unemployed show.
All right, KB's Unemployed show. We are back. It is day 78 of being unemployed. And any updates? No, there aren't any updates. I know you guys don't mind it if I don't have any updates, but I can guarantee you that Miss Sue doesn't like it when I don't have any updates. But there are not any updates per se. I do not have any jobs waiting for me on the horizon. However, I will say this. There were some discussions yesterday that took place between myself and a lot of people who you would know, and it's not out of the realm of possibility that there might be a reunion of sorts among members of the former radio show coming up in probably June. May see something where the band gets back together with a variety of other individuals. So that could be coming up, but stay tuned here and you will find out, be the first one to find out. But today, as I said, it's going to be a good show. We've got Pete Lipsey will be coming on. Had to record it earlier, and I didn't have time to bleep out the bad parts, so keep the kids away from the YouTube channel or on Twitter, on air KB. But we just went back and forth with some great street jokes that we love. And if you want, you can write them down. You can use them. They're free for anybody else to use. And then I will have my top 5 things. But as we get going now, it's been several days since I talked to you last. It has been last Thursday. As you know, for the last couple of weeks, I was really locked in on the Olympics. And now the Olympics have concluded, and it could not have ended any better with the United States hockey victory, which was simply amazing, beating the Canadians. It's not as politically, I guess you could say, energized as it was in 1980 when they beat the Russians. But nonetheless, the Canadians vanquishing our hockey foes, if you will, 2-1 in overtime. Of course, Jack Hughes getting the game winner. Now, I saw something that was tweeted from the movie Miracle, and I didn't have time to get into this, but Jack Hughes got the game winner in the victory over Canada on Sunday. But in the movie Miracle, when Herb Brooks makes his final cuts, there is a close-up on the clipboard, and this would be for the 1980 team, the last time the Americans won. And the last name he crosses out is Jack Hughes. It's not foreshadowing. I believe it was his dad, but I did not have time to check that out. But that is pretty incredible if that is indeed the case. But the final was absolutely spectacular. And a couple of things that I want to say about that. Number one, and if you've been looking at some of the stuff that I've been doing on the shorts on this channel, you know where I kind of come down on hockey and what it means. And a lot of people are speculating, why do people get behind hockey and not USA basketball? And Sue and I were out at a local watering hole at 7 a.m. on a Sunday, and it was packed. And it's a valid question, why why is it that people will rally around hockey and they don't around basketball? And I think basically what it is there is a feeling. Yeah, you had the 1980 underdog thing, but there is also a feeling about USA hockey and the way hockey players are built versus NBA players. Now, in 92, when the Dream Team was put together, those guys were playing for America. And I think it's gotten to the point where most Americans feel like uh, the USA basketball players from the NBA that play, it's just an accommodation. Because a lot of them say, no, I'm going to skip the Olympics. They don't see it as a source of pride. And I think that bothers an awful lot of people. And I wanted to dig deep on this because the point that I made was when you saw Jack Hughes's interview at the end of the game, just after he got off the ice, um, he's smiling, he is happy, and they put the microphone in his face. He's got blood coming out of his lip. He's broken 2 teeth, and he says, "America, this is the greatest country in the world, and I am so proud to be from America." And I started going into post gold medal pressers with the NBA players, and I could not find anything where they were that excited. And I think that kind of energy translates and it transfers to the fans. Um, that is probably, I think, what it boils down to is there's a general consensus that the USA hockey team plays for America. USA basketball, they play for themselves. Um, and I think that is indeed the case. Now, you could tell me that I'm, got my head up my ass, and you certainly would be entitled to it. But that's the feeling that I'm getting. That is why people gravitate towards USA hockey, even though they are NHL players. When you look at how that game finished, and you look at the heartbreak on the face of the Canadians, and they have to sit there and watch the celebration because they get their medal, their silver medal right after that. You could tell on the faces of those hockey players that, yeah, they were disappointed about losing, but you just got the feeling that inside they were feeling like they let their countrymen down. And it's sentiment and emotion and things like that is very easy to misconstrue, but it also can be very easy to read. Now, over the last couple of days, and I would be remiss if I didn't say this, over the last couple of days, all the talk has been about the U.S. men's Olympic hockey team. And the U.S. women's hockey team has kind of fallen by the wayside. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to talk dominating performances, yeah, it's women's hockey, but the women's hockey team, I mean, literally dominated everybody and not even close to what happened with the men. I mean, they steamrolled everyone. The only close game they had was that final game against Canada. And they're not getting the credit they deserve. Now, I will be the first one to admit I don't watch a lot of women's hockey. And I think that's the bias that most sports fans have. But as I watched the women's hockey team play over the course of the Olympics, they were much more skilled than they had been. If you watch a women's hockey game 10 years ago, it was the worst thing in the world to watch. If you watch the women's hockey games in this Olympics, they were pretty damn solid. Ben says, how many NHL players skip for load management? Now, they don't refer to it as load management, but hockey players have to be pretty injured before they sit out. I just saw, was it Wes Unseld or something? I saw it on Twitter. It's in 9 seasons in the NBA, he missed 16 games. So that tells you everything that you need to know there about old school versus new school. The back to the U.S. women's hockey team. The U.S. women's hockey team was absolutely incredible, and I will say this: the Megan Keller game winner, as time was running out in the third period, the deke she put on that Canadian defenseman was sick. It was sick as hell. Um, you would not have seen 10 years ago women, with stick handling ability like that. It just wasn't there. The game is not as fast, it's not as physical, but it's more like a European style hockey. It's more wide open, it's more flowing, and their quality of play has increased dramatically. So it is something worth watching. And as I said, we would be remiss if we did not give them credit, because that victory was equally as, I guess you could say, unifying for the United States as the men's was. Some other things that happened with the Olympics, the curling events. I don't know why everyone who I talked to got locked in on curling. It wasn't until the end that we were introduced to ski mountaineering, which may be one of the dumbest things that I've ever seen. But again, as I've said before, it's like Winter Olympics events, so many of them they just seem like they're events that were made up by guys who are out drinking. Like, hey, I dare you to go down this hill as fast as you can on a sled face first. Boom, there you got skeleton, right? Or, hey, you four guys get on this sled here and see if you can make it all the way down. And then there's ski mountaineering, where it was, okay, we want you to ski up a hill. Tell you what, you ski up a hill and then you can ski down a hill. But you're going to need these grippers on the bottom of your skis so you can get up the hill. And then when you get up there the second time, you're going to take the skis off, you're going to put them on your back, and then you're going to run upstairs. And then you're going to go up another hill. And you're looking at this going, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. Now, the one that they didn't have that I was kind of bumming out about was, or maybe I just missed it. They didn't have the snowboard motocross, which was kind of like, BMX bike racing on snowboards. I always thought that was pretty cool. That was pretty awesome. And I did not see that. I know I would have watched it because we had the Olympics on constantly in our house. And in fact, when the Olympics end, and I was talking to Sue about this, and I don't know if anyone feels the same, but when the Olympics come to an end, it's almost as if, as you watch the closing ceremonies, you get a little bit misty, but I mean, you've committed 11 days to your to watching, and it comes to an end. You feel kind of sad about it. The coolest thing about watching these Olympics is this is the first time that I have ever watched an Olympics where I was familiar with the surroundings. A lot of the places that they showed, I had been to recently. And so that was really cool to say, oh, I know where that place is. We went in there for gelato. We sat out in the piazza in front of the Duomo. And so that made it very, very, a lot more interesting, to see that. And it's like, yeah, that's pretty much just as cool as you think it is. So the Olympics are over. I'm a little bit bummed out, but although now Sue and I are back to catching up on stuff that we haven't watched in 2 weeks. So we have not seen the new season of Survivor. So I will be updating on that. I am for certain. And that's tomorrow. I'm just going to do a catch up on all of the things that I have missed. Let's see, we're watching The Pit on HBO Max, which is a great show. We got to catch up with Landman. And then I come to find out that there is a new season of Love is Blind, which are the most psychotic people in the world. But I have I have female students who big Love Is Blind fans. Um, so I'm sure that I will have one of them on um, to do a Love Is Blind update uh, because I will freely admit that and he wouldn't deny it that I was into watching The Bachelor, and it was Jim McIlvaine from former Marquette star that got me into watching The Bachelor. And you have to learn how to watch it. You really don't care about the people. It's more so uh, trolling them or looking at things in the background. For example, I remember watching a couple of seasons ago, and Mac was watching, and we'd text back and forth and say, they were doing hometowns, and I texted him, who the hell has a French fryer on their patio? You see that in the background, and he comes back with a commercial one, no less. But we'll catch up on some of that stuff. One thing that I have found to be pretty interesting is that while we are away for the Olympics, absolutely zero progress was made in the whole Nancy Guthrie thing. I don't know what's going on here, but this is weird as hell. Now you get people out there on the internet. The internet sleuths are the absolute worst because they are the ones who are advancing a lot of these goofy theories. Well, I'm here to say this much, that with I was on this a couple of weeks ago, right before we went to the Olympics, and I was definitely um, the son-in-law. There was something that wasn't sitting right with the son-in-law, and what is going on with that is now they're pulling cars out of the daughter and son-in-law's home, and they're blocking stuff off, and they're going back into these houses. No one has any idea where this woman is. There's no trail. There's something is not right on this. And if I was a betting man, I would push all in. I would push all in on the son-in-law. But I will catch up on that, and we will see what's going on. But right now, what I want to do is I want to bring to the stage, if you will, um, let's see here, a very good friend of mine. I've got to figure out how do we do this. Stop that screen. We're going to add it, which was recorded earlier in the day, and that is none other than a good dear friend of mine, Peter Lipsey. Pete is a stand-up comic who I've known for years, and Pete is doing. He will tell you what his TikTok is, and he does a street joke a day. And for those of you who don't know what street jokes are, it's two guys walk into a bar, a priest, a rabbi, and Marilyn Monroe go into a bar. A monkey is sitting in a car hood. Those things, and they can be the dumbest things in the world, but they're also the best. And Pete and I always used to tell street jokes in the back of the room at our comedy gigs. So I said, Pete, why don't you come on and we'll do some street jokes back and forth. And what Pete does now on TikTok is for 670 some odd days, he has done a street joke. That's all he does. He posts it every single day. And we talk about some of our favorite comics and some of our favorite street jokes. Now, I would like to point out that there will be some profanity in here because that's kind of how street jokes work. But I hope you enjoyed. Sit back and watch the comedy stylings of Mr. Pete Lipsey. Aha!
it. You know what? I'm doing my jokes. If you like it, great. If not, maybe you'll like the next one. And you do what you do. You're never going to please everyone. You know, I never do politics because why alienate half the crowd? That's something separate.
No.
But I do my stuff. And if you like it, great. If not, that's okay too.
And well, political humor, there were people that were really good at it too.
Yeah.
Jimmy Tingle was great at it.
Tingle was great.
Will Durst was
Lewis Black.
They were fantastic with comedy. Now it's just, you know, the comics that do political humor. It's just like screw Trump and you know, Biden is an idiot, and it's like there's no creativity there, and there's such a lack. There's such a lack of creativity, and it drives me absolutely crazy. I think I was sharing with you. I don't even know if I should tell it here. Maybe I'll just take the one word out because I can make sure that I dub it out because it might offend people. But must have been about. Oh, it was a while ago because my son was still in college and I hadn't done stand-up for a while. And I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back to the comedy cafe and I bet you I could crank out a half hour to 40 minutes and I could feature for a weekend. I mean, you used to be a headliner, but I bet you I could go and feature for a weekend, make some easy money. But as you know, you got to work out. You got to go do open mics.
Yeah.
So the cafe was still open. It was still open down on Brady Street. And I went in and was going to do an open mic. And this kid who was running the open mic, it was the most surreal thing for me because I walked into the club and it was like a time warp. It's like I had never left. All the same headshots were on the wall. The only difference was I went around, he's dead now, he's dead.
Right,
you know,
right.
Suicide, OD, you know, blah, blah, blah. But I go walking in, I'm sitting in the back of the room, right where we used to sit, getting ready to call up. And this kid walks up to me and he says, "Hey, listen, I hear you're going up tonight." Now, this is what was weird because when you were a headliner and it was your hometown, you could walk into the back of the room and they were like, "Oh, look who's here."
Right.
You know, and there was none of that. And so I said, yeah. And he looks at me and goes, "Hey, don't worry. I got you between two really good people." And I was like,
Wow.
well, I wasn't worried at all, really. And I'm thinking that, you know, I was writing new material and I'm thinking that I've got the killer opening line. And as you know, timing and silence is always really important. You know, it's not so much the words, it's, you know, what your timing is. So I go up to deliver my opening line and I think I've got this thing nailed. And I go up and I said, you know, if I had to create the world's worst driver, it would have to be a handicapped elderly Asian woman in a Prius with a Jesus fish and a coexist bumper sticker.
Right.
And I got crickets. I got ooh. And I'm like, what are you oohing about?
Right.
All I did was point out that everything that you guys say anyway, you know,
Right.
but it's, I said it in public. And
Right.
it's really hard to do that. And I'd like to go work out again, but I don't know if I will because I don't know what people will take to and what they won't.
Right. I think a lot of the comics today, they hear a certain word or perspective and it's like, oh, you know, and you know, you got to work out at open mics, but a lot of these people, it's, you know, they see stuff on the internet. I'm going to get my 5 minutes and try and get my shot. And, you know, we're on the road. The road is the destination.
Right.
That's where you learn this, you know, you meet your people you still hang out with. And, you know, you do your best. And we're still behind microphones years and years and years later. So there's something to be said about that.
Well, you know, I was thinking about this because they just had, you know, AI was just being accused of writing music that are hits, that's, you know, they're hit songs. And what you can do with AI is just wild.
It's obscene. Yeah.
And I was thinking of becoming the AI comic and just having and just having AI write an entire set of comedy and see what it would do. But I couldn't do it because I went and tested it, and I'll have to talk about this on an upcoming show.
Yeah.
All I have are lines. I just have lines because, as you know, when you were doing stand-up, you went to open mics to write your material.
Yeah, right.
Right? You'd feel stuff out on stage, and I just have a bunch of single lines that are written out. I don't really know where to take them yet, and I might throw it into Chat GPT and see what the secondary line is that it writes for me.
Right.
Because I thought of a very okay, so I can't do the Asian old woman driving joke,
right,
because apparently that's too offensive. So the other opening line that I just came up with recently is just basically, well, my new therapist has got a great set of tits. And that's throwing a wrench into shit.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I've got good stuff. You know, the thing is, and why I wanted you on here is you're doing something on TikTok, which is just absolutely killing me. And like you said, there's only 7 joke premises in the world, and everything evolves. And what you're doing on TikTok, and it's at Lipper, right? TikTok.
I think it's at Lipper. I'll look up my TikTok thing now. To be honest, I can't remember it. Hold on. Let me try and find my profile. It is. Sorry. It is at the Joke Writer 35.
Okay, at the Joke Writer 35.
Yeah.
And you're on what day now of putting a street joke up every day?
I think I'm about 670-ish days in a row. Now, I started this pandemic on Facebook. I got to 469.
Okay.
So it's just a different joke. Guy walks into a bar or whatever, you know. And
right.
I would say 85% of them are really funny. The other 15%, they're funny. Are they gut busters? I don't know.
You know, the thing about a street joke is that everyone knows one.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I only know a handful of them. And every time someone comes out, you know, hey, tell me a joke, I tell the same ones over and over again.
Right. They're hard to remember.
Okay. They're tough to remember. They don't pop into your head. So what I wanted to do with you is this isn't really a street joke battle.
No. It's just 2 dudes telling jokes.
I just want to go back and forth with these street jokes because some of them just absolutely kill me.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
who?
I'll start with one.
Okay, you want to start? You start. You start with one.
Yeah. So like an 80-year-old man is walking down the street and he sees this little kid on the porch of a house trying to ring the doorbell. So the old man shuffles up the stairs, goes, "Can I help you, son?" He's like, "Sure." So the old man steadies his hand on the kid's shoulder, stretches, pushes the doorbell, and he goes, "All right, now what?" And the kid goes, "Run, mister." It's so stupid. I think it's funny. It's an 80-year-old man. He's helping.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, the stupid part, you know, it doesn't have to be a real long story, although some of them can get a little bit long. But the real stupid part that I like is sometimes when they're short and quick hitters. Like, what did the farmer say when he lost his tractor?
Don't know.
Where's my?
It's so funny. It's the same as like, why does Snoop Dogg use an umbrella? For drizzle.
There's one that I always, it's, you know, in street jokes, the other thing, a lot of it is, you know, delivery. And the ones that I get good at, the ones that I'm good at are the ones that I know how to deliver. And one that I like telling to little kids because it's clean is you get someone 8, 9 years old and go, "Hey, have you ever seen when you look up in the sky, have you ever seen, you know, geese? They fly when they're migrating, you know, they're heading south. You see them taking off and they fly in a big V, right? They get the lead goose there and then they all fall in line in a big V. But you ever notice that anytime you're looking up there and you see that one side of the V is longer than the other. And it's like, yeah. And you know why that is? Why? There's more geese on that side.
Yeah, those are the best jokes. The simplest are just the best. Like
Mhm.
two dogs are walking down the street, and they see this third dog driving a truck loaded with logs. And the first dog goes, "That's amazing." The second dog goes, "Well, he started by fetching sticks and built the business from there."
Okay. How about this one? City guy, moves to the country and he's going to escape the rat race. And he gets out, he moves to the country and he buys a farm and he's going to start farming and everything. And, he goes out there and he's like, this is it. I love it. People are friendly. It's quiet. It's not the city life. I love being out here. And one day, knock on his door and it's the farmer next door. And farmer comes up to him and says, hey, welcome. I see you bought the farm next to me and I'd like to welcome you. And we're going to have a little shindig tonight for you. So come on over. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be drinking, fighting, and fucking. And the city guy goes, well, this is it, man. This is why I moved out here. And so he looks at the farmer and he says, well, what time should I come over? And the farmer goes, I don't care. It's just going to be the two of us.
That is such a great joke. It doesn't matter when you've heard it. That joke is classic for
Oh, I know.
It's unbelievable.
Mhm.
Salesman, door-to-door salesman knocks on her door. 5-year-old girl answers with a lit cigar in one hand and half a bottle of Jack Daniels in the other. And the salesman goes, are your parents home? And the little girl goes, does it fucking look like my parents are home?
Yeah, it doesn't have to go it doesn't have to go a long way for it to be good, right?
Oh,
And
they're just the best. I just love jokes. 7th grade sex ed teacher goes, class, tonight's homework, how many different ways can two people make love? So the next day she goes, class, did you do the homework? Yes. Timmy, yes, teacher, did you do the homework? Yes. How many different ways can two people make love? And he stands up and yells, 73. And the teacher's taken aback. Oh my gosh, 73. Holy shit. I didn't even know that was a possibility. She's flustered and doesn't know what to do. And she goes, Becky, yes, teacher, did you do the homework? Yes, I did. How many different ways can two people make love? And Becky goes, well, I just came up with the one where the man lies on top of the woman. And from back of the class, Timmy stands up and yells, 74.
Okay. All right. I got a number one then.
Yeah.
But I'll give you a number one. Like you said, there's only 7 jokes, right? 7 premises. So this one comes right off the heels of that. There's a kid sitting in the street and he's standing on the box. There's just a box and he's standing on the box and he's jumping up and down on this box. It's like not a cardboard box. It's a wooden box, so that he could jump up and down on it. And he's going 16, 16, 16. And he's jumping up and down. And this guy walks by and he goes, what the hell? He goes, what are you doing? You're just jumping up and down on this box going 16, 16, 16. And he goes, mister, man, you got to try this. This is hysterical. This is so much fun. I've never had this much fun in my entire life. And the guy's like, really? He goes, yeah, get on the box and try it. So the guy gets up on the box and he's standing there and he jumps up in the air and he goes 16. And as he's up in the air, the kid kicks the box. Guy goes down a manhole. And the kid goes 17.
Absolute classic. I mean,
Yes.
All right, so guy walks into a bar with his talking dog and goes to the bartender. I'll have a beer. My talking dog will have a gin and tonic. Bartender's like, get the hell out of here. All of a sudden, the dog goes, no, I'll have a gin and tonic with 2 limes. Bartender's freaking out. He gets them their drinks, hands the dog $20 and goes, look, my girlfriend works at the diner across the alley. Take the 20. Would make her day if you go there, order a burger, fries, and Coke. So the dog takes the 20. He leaves. 10 minutes go by. Half an hour goes by, no sign of the dog. So the owner and the bartender walk across the alley to see what's happening, and the dog is dry humping a French poodle. And the owner goes, Buster, what are you doing? You've never done that before. And Buster goes, I never had $20 before. And when you tell these jokes in front of, like, you know, an audience, they go nuts. And I don't know if you've had this when you were doing stand-up, but I try not to do street jokes during my act, because you do a street joke, it's almost impossible to follow because they are so goddamn funny.
Yeah.
And you know, but heck, the bottom line is getting the job done and making the people laugh.
Well, okay, I'll do the guy walks into a bar, and then I'll combine it with the genie in a bottle.
Okay.
And this is a joke that you have to tell in mixed company, and you have to set it up and say, here, I'm going to tell this joke, and every guy in this room is going to laugh, and every woman is going to look at me and go, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. That is not funny at all. But every guy laughs at this, and I don't know why. So guy walks into a bar, and he's got two beautiful women, one on each arm. And he starts buying everybody drinks. He's just like, the rest of the night's on me. I got two gorgeous women. The rest of the night is on me. But he's got a big orange head. And so, hey, bartender doesn't really care. So, he's got like Sydney Sweeney type, that caliber woman, and they're hanging all over him, and he keeps buying drinks, and the bartender keeps coming over, and he's buying rounds, and he's going on and on. But the bartender is like, man, I got to get to the bottom of this, right? So finally the bartender goes up to the guy and he says, hey, dude, I just got to ask you, I've never had anyone like you come in here before. What's going on? You got the money and the chicks? And he goes, yeah. He goes, I was walking down a beach, and there's this bottle there. And he goes, okay. And he makes the first wish. He rubs it. He goes, genie's going to come out. And the genie comes out. He goes, I'll give you 3 wishes. And the guy's got all this money, and he's got these girls, and he's got this big fucking orange head. And so the genie goes, what is your first wish? And the guy goes, so I wish for all the money in the world. And as you can see, I have all the money in the world. It's amazing. It doesn't matter. He goes, if I run out of money, I just look in my bank account and there's another 5 million in there. I will never run out of money my entire life. And he goes, okay. And he goes, well, bartender says, so what was your second wish? And he says, well, I wish to be followed at all times by 2 of the most beautiful women in the world. Everywhere I go, it doesn't matter. It's not even these 2. Sometimes I have 2 entirely different women, but no matter where I go, I've got 2 of the most gorgeous women with me at all times. And bartender's like, okay. And he says, so what was the 3rd wish? And the guy goes, yeah, because that's where I fucked up. I wish for a big orange head. I don't know what it is.
Again, that's one of those jokes that just the test of time. It's always going to be there.
But women will look at you and they will go, what? And it's like, right. You don't get it?
Oh my God.
How do you not get this?
I know.
How do you not get it?
I love genie jokes. I got one. So guys walking along the beach. He sees a bottle, rubs it, genie pops out. You have unleashed the magic bottle. I will grant you any wish whenever you want. What it'll be. And the guy looks at his crotch and goes, well, I'm kind of small down there. I want it to be larger. And so the genie waves his arm, says some words, and his groin just starts growing and growing and growing and growing. It doesn't stop. It keeps growing. So the guy grabs the bottle, rubs it. Genie pops out and goes, you have unleashed me. You can get your second wish, but think about it. And the guy goes, I don't have to think about it. And the genie's like, I know. You want it to go back to your original size. And the guy's like, no, I just want you to make my legs longer. They're so stupid.
I know. And let's see, the guy goes into a job interview, and the guy who's interviewing him says to him, looks at him, and says to him, "What would you say is your biggest weakness?" And he goes, "Well, my biggest weakness, huh?" He goes, "Guess I'd have to say my biggest weakness is my honesty. I'm totally honest." And the interviewer says, "Hey, well, I don't think being honest around here is going to be a problem." And the guy goes, "I don't give a fuck what you think."
So good. Guy
Yeah.
walks into a library and goes, "I like a burger, fries, and Coke." And the librarian's like, "Sir, this is a library." And he goes, "Sorry, I'd like a burger, fries, and Coke." It's the same it's the same joke where a guy walks into the library and goes, "Do you have any books on paranoia?" And the librarian's like, "They're right behind you."
Let's see. Okay. This is the one thing, and I'm of Irish lineage, right? And everyone has gotten I mean, when we were growing up, that was all the jokes that we heard from our dads.
That's right.
They were all about different races, Polak jokes,
Right.
and things like that, right? And so there's one that I think is great. And I always said this. Here's the thing about Irish guys and people of Irish heritage and Irish jokes. If you tell an Irish joke, right, and an Irishman gets mad, it's not because it was an Irish joke. It's because it wasn't funny.
That's right.
They
That's
probably
right.
they probably have 5 more that are funnier. But the one that I always like, and I can't do the first accents, but I can do a dialect. I can do an Irish dialect, right? So there's an Englishman, a Scotsman, and an Irishman sitting in a bar in Australia. And they're talking to each other about missing home back in the United Kingdom.
And that's it for this episode of KB's Unemployed.
Yeah, I miss being back there. He goes, "This is the Irish or the Englishman goes, I miss being back in Liverpool. This is a great bar." He goes, "But we got a bar back in Liverpool that I go to all the time. It's called Fly in the Loaf." Well, I'm not sure that's a good name for a bar, but the Fly in the Loaf. And he goes, "I'll tell you about it. What happens is you go in there and you sit down and they are so friendly." He goes, "You can buy 1 pint, have it. You buy another pint, and they'll give you your 3rd pint for free." And the Scotsman looks at him and says, "Really?" He goes, "Well, I go to a place in Edinburgh where it's called the Black Cat." He goes, "You think that's good?" He goes, "You go into the Black Cat, you buy a pint, they give you the next one for free. You buy another pint, they give you the next one for free. That goes on all night long." And the Irishman goes, "That's nothing. It's nothing. We got a place back home called O'Donoghue's. And you go into O'Donoghue's, and they'll buy you your 1st pint and your 2nd pint. And then they'll buy you your 3rd pint. And they'll keep buying you pints all night long, over and over again. And then when you're all fucked up, right, not a great pisser, they take you upstairs and they throw you a good shag." And the Scotsman and the Englishman look at him and they go, "This has happened to you?" And he goes, "Nah, but it's happened to me sister a few times." You've always got to have that misdirection.
The
You always got to
misdirection.
have.
It's like German guy, French guy, Jewish dude. They're wandering the desert. It's hot. There's no water, and the German guy's like, "Oh, I'm hot. I'm thirsty. I must have a beer." And the French guy is going, "Oh, I am hot. I'm thirsty. I must have some red wine." And the Jewish guy goes, "Oh, I'm hot. I'm thirsty. I must have diabetes."
So, but the master of the street joke, I happen to think, at least of my generation, and he's one of my all-time favorite comics, and he was fantastic on panels on talk shows.
Yeah.
I happen to think he was maybe, and I'm talking street jokes. My all-time favorite.
Before you say his name, when you're ready, let me guess. I bet I know what you're going to say.
Okay, but I know you'll know because I'll tip it off. But I think he was one of the best characters, limited characters on Saturday Night Live. Nobody got him for the most part. Nobody got him except, and he ended up getting fired.
Oh, yeah.
Because, so you know who I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about, but I'll give you the other guy I thought you were talking about too. He was so funny. And so what was great about Norm is the joke, sometimes you do a 5-minute joke and just the way he hesitates and his cadence and how he tells the joke. To me, that was the funniest part of whatever the joke was, just the setup.
Norm was the best. And he had so many just killer jokes.
Yeah.
And he gets fired from Saturday Night Live. Nobody got him. The other guy that I liked that did Weekend Update quite a bit was Dennis Miller. I think
Dennis Miller,
he took comedy to an entirely different level. I think.
He has arguably one of the top 5 comedy albums of all time, Black and White.
Black and White.
It is. It's up there with Class Clown. It's up there with
Live on the Sunset Strip.
Yep. It's up there with Button Down Mine of Newhart and Woody Allen stand-up comics. Those are the top 5, I think, of all time.
Yeah, and people don't realize how funny Bob Newhart was either.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's why he was always on the phone on his shows. Because
that was his bit.
Was him on the phone.
Right. And doing these phone calls like Abraham Lincoln and trying to make theater reservations.
Yeah, try taking a play. But I thought before Norm, I thought you were talking about Buddy Hackett when he was on the Tonight Show.
Oh, Buddy Hackett
would always tell a joke on the Tonight Show.
Oh, Hackett and Rickles and those guys were just killers. But Norm Macdonald, you remember a comic? I know you do. Fred Klett.
Yeah. I didn't work with him much, but yeah.
Fred and I had a thing when we'd work together. We both loved Norm, and we had a thing when we worked together when we got to in the Zanies. He always had to do 3 shows on Saturday.
Yeah,
and that third show, that 11:15 show on a Saturday night, was just brutal. It was it was the worst when you were closing the room,
right?
Because then you're not going out to 12:30 at night. Oh, it was just brutal.
Just have 2 good ones. Don't add a third show.
Mm-hmm.
Just have an 8 and a 10.
So when Fred and I would work together, we had a thing that we would do because we loved Norm so much. Is they would, right before he went on stage, when they're introducing you, and they go, "Okay, the next guy coming up, he's a favorite at clubs and colleges all across the country, blah, blah, blah." You would whisper in the other guy's ear a word. Didn't matter, like mushroom. Okay. Right as you're walking toward the stage. And then the thing was, you had to start your show talking like Norm Macdonald. Use that word and get a laugh before you go into your regular material.
So kind of like a challenge.
It was a challenge. Hey, yeah. Oh, it's why that guy is singing, and that's what his cadence. And he would make it sound like he's forgetting stuff all the time.
Right. But for you guys to do that, first words out of your mouth, and the audience doesn't know it's a challenge.
No, it's a challenge, and you got to get a laugh.
You got to get a laugh. Oh, wow.
And then the laugh, the cue that you could go on to your act was, and you knew each other's laughs, right? So the cue was if you could hear the other guy laughing in the back.
Oh, that's so funny.
And
I bet there were times where it's like, I haven't heard his cue yet.
Well, there was one time I knew Fred was working the Comedy Cafe in Milwaukee, and I was doing the Zanies in St. Charles. And I got on the phone. I called the front desk, the check-in place at the cafe. Yeah. And I said, put Fred on, because I knew the timing of when he'd be going up.
Right.
And he gets on the phone, He goes, yeah, this is Fred. I go, Fred, this is KB. And I just said something like cheese grater and hung up.
That is
But,
so. That's
one of my
so funny.
one of my favorite Norm jokes, though, is he did this on Conan, and he says, yeah, so I'm in this new apartment, and I meet my neighbor. And my neighbor introduced myself to him and everything. And he says, I go, so what do you do? And he goes, I'm a professor of logic. And he goes, whoa, what, down it's the way Norbert, I'm a professor of logic, down at the University of Science there. That's what I because I'm the professor of logic. And he goes, my God, he goes, the professor of logic. I don't know if I know what that is. And the guy goes, well, he goes, the professor of logic he draws conclusions based on different reasoning. And that's what I try and teach is how you can get to conclusions with different reasoning. And Norm says, really? Like, how does that work? And he says, well, I'll give you an example. And he goes, do you own a dog? And he goes, yeah, I do own a dog. And he goes, well, then he goes, you probably got a doghouse. And he goes, by golly, yeah, I do have a doghouse. And he goes, well, if you have a doghouse, you probably have a family and kids, and you're married. He goes, I'm telling you, he goes, you're absolutely right. I got a dog, I got a doghouse, I got a dog, I got kids, and I'm married. And he goes, well, based on the fact that you have that, he goes, you're probably heterosexual. And he says, why, by God, I am heterosexual. And the professor goes, see, that's logic. And he's like, that's amazing. And so guy goes off and he's standing at the bus and he sees a guy at the bus stop and he goes, they're talking to each other. And he goes, the strangest thing happened to me. And he goes, I met a guy that lived next door and he amazed me. And he's a professor of logic. And the guy at the bus stop goes, what's that? And he goes, well, you draw inferences from this reasoning, and based on the questions I ask you, I can find things out about you just based on those questions. And he says, okay. And he goes, let me give you an example. And he goes, do you have a doghouse? And he goes, no. And he goes, you must be gay.
And it's great. Norm probably took 4 or 5 minutes.
Oh, at least.
Got to that.
At least. And he's going around and around. He is the best. He's the best.
He is the best. So 2 guys are walking down the street. They pass a church that says, become Jewish for $100. So one guy looks at his buddy, I'll go in. So 3 hours later, he comes out. And he goes, I'm Jewish. And his buddy goes, did you get the $100? And he goes, is that all you people ever think about?
All right. I'm going to give you one more and then you give me one good one. And then we're going to shut it down.
We're going to shut it down.
A guy goes, his wife, he's in a hospital. His wife is in a coma. And he goes to the doctor. He goes, my wife is in a coma. What can we do? Can we get her out of this coma? And the doctor looks at him and goes, well, there's one thing you might be able to do. And he goes, it's kind of unconventional. He goes, but if you're willing to give it a try, it just might work. And the guy says, well, what's that? He goes, what I want you to do is I want you to, he goes, you go in the room and have oral sex with her. And he goes, oh, I want her out of the coma. By golly, I'll give it a try. And he walks into the room, and 5 minutes later, he goes, Doc, she was choking.
That's a great joke. And if I can do a little caveat, I think Conan fell out of his chair.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, that was such a great joke. And Conan was like a little uneasy, wasn't sure, but that's a classic joke. All right, I got one. When we were talking, did I tell you the joke about the 2 guys walking the bar and the guy wants to borrow money?
No.
All right. So two buddies are in a bar drinking. One of them goes, "Listen, I need to borrow some money. My wife is sick, and I'm 3 months late on the mortgage. My kid's going to college next semester, and tuition and seats. Could you please lend me some money? Anything?" His buddy goes, "I'm not lending you any money. You got a huge gambling problem. If I give you money, you're gonna do. How do I know if I give you money, you're not gonna gamble it away?" And the guy goes, "Well, I got gambling money."
That is, I think that's the one that first comes to mind whenever someone says tell a street joke. That is one of my all-time favorites.
I mean, they're all so good, KB. And I've always said, if I can just do a quick little announcement. So me and these three other guys, we do this geezer show, and it's kind of like a variety show. We all do stand-up, and then it's trivia and stuff on the movie screen. And at the end, we all go on stage and tell jokes at the end, and the crowd loves it. But before that, I've always wanted to do street jokes for like an hour. Me and 2 and 3 other guys just sitting on a chair, shooting the shit like we were doing beforehand. Hey, I got one. And then, we delve off into something. Just do street jokes for an hour and 15 minutes. I think it'll be so good.
Absolutely.
But you got to find a place for it, though.
Pete, thanks for coming on, man. And that's, what's that TikTok, a joke a day?
Yeah. Well,
what is it?
I've done like a street joke a day. They're all on there. All 600 and so at the Joke Writer 35 on TikTok, or just search my name and you'll see them.
All right. Sounds good, Pete. Thanks for coming on, and we'll have you on again sometime.
Yeah, that'd be great. And we'll be in touch via texting, KB.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you're welcome. You have a great day.
You too. Well, it's the end of the show. It's good that I'm turning on the microphone. I would have done the last 10 minutes without it on. Doesn't surprise anyone out there. I'm just going to finish up here quickly with it's National Bartender Day. And I'm going to do a few shout outs here. It's National Bartender Day, and I love all my bartender friends and all the people that have served me drinks over the years. But I thought when National Bartender Day, what I was going to do is I was going to do my top 5 all-time favorite bartenders. And then what I'll do is I'll send them the link to this, and then they'll get people to subscribe. If you have friends and you think this is worth your time, don't have to join me live. It's always up there on YouTube. Just hit subscribe, share it with them, and say, hey, got to check this out. It's a good way to stay in touch with stuff going around Wisconsin. Good way to stay in touch with people that were on your all-time favorite radio station. And, or stay in touch with me. And if you have any comments, you can always hit me up on YouTube. If you got any requests or anything like that you'd like to hear us talk about. I got guests coming up left and right. Next Tuesday, I'm going to have a news person. Tomorrow, I'm not sure who I have tomorrow. On Thursday, I've got a musician, friend of mine from Minneapolis, from a band called High on Stress. Listen to him if you get a chance before that. Nick Leet will be on with me, and we'll talk to him about music. But anyway, back to my top 5. And I'd like to point out these are my top 5 favorite bartenders, but almost every single bartender I've ever had, I've loved. I've just pretty much known these guys longer than anybody else. So that's kind of how that works out. So my top 5 all-time bartenders, a guy named Mark Kumich, God rest his soul, passed a few years back. He was the bartender at Kelly's in Mequon when I first moved down here in the 80s. We played softball together. We were on a bowling team together. One of the all-time greats up at Kelly's. And I just found Kelly's has got out of business for probably 30 years, and I just found a free wooden drink chip. I still have it. I'm going to use that as a ball marker on the green. Mark Kumich comes in at number 5. At number 4, Drew Stein, who is the bartender at the Milwaukee Athletic Club. Totally chill dude. Single digit handicap, played on a mini tour, knows how to make my mumbler. What more do you need? Number 3, guy named Andy Silky. Again, another low single digit handicapper. But when we played softball together on the Silver Spring House team, when my wife and I first met, she played on the women's team. I played on the men's team. You never hear of anyone getting together now and just picking up somebody in a bar. That's where nobody meets their wife anymore. Not a single one of them. It's all it's all other Tinder or whatever, not Tinder, but dating apps and Hinge and stuff like that. But I met my wife in a bar, and Andy was instrumental. That first baseman on the team, I was third baseman. Andy's about 6'6". But I followed him from the Silver Spring House in Glendale. Then he went to Rosie's on Water Street, and then he opened his own place, Taylor and Dunn's in Mequon, which was one of my favorite bars of all time. And then he just said, "Nah, I'm getting out of the business." And since then, I haven't had a really, really good corned beef sandwich close to home or a fun time on a Saturday night, because he would watch Notre Dame football if it was on, and he wouldn't be banished off to like a side room. Number 2, coming in at number 2, Johnny Trace. You've heard Drew talk of him. Squeeze, it's our boy Squeeze. He was at the River Club of Mequon. He's been there for so long. He served me drinks before my son was born, when my son was a baby, and then when he served my son drinks when he was of age. So he's been around an awful long time. So Squeeze, Johnny Trace, coming in at number 2, my favorite bartenders of all time. And coming in at number 1, this is a 2-for-1 here. This is a father-son team. Coming in at number 1 is the father-son team of Jamie and Brendan O'Donoghue. OD's favorite Irish bar in the city. Brendo graduated with my son from high school. Jamie has been a fixture in the Elm Grove, Wauwatosa, Brookfield area for years. Runs it old school, just a good old neighborhood bar type thing. Has great burgers, and they do it on 4 feet of grill. Burgers, their corned beef is to die for. But Jamie and Brendan O'Donoghue, they're so old school. A great bartender will know exactly how you want your drink made. And they certainly learned that, but they kicked it up a notch. What they did was they put in an entirely new register system, a new point of sale system, and all computerized, obviously, just punch it in so you know what everybody's having. And they put that new system in, and they programmed Mumbler as one of the keys. So if I'm in there and I have a bourbon Manhattan, boom, he hits Mumbler. And then when I get to sign my tab, it says Mumbler on it. And how can you not like that? How can you not like that? Of course you have to love that. So Jamie and Brendan O'Donoghue, out at OD's in Elm Grove. If you're ever out that way, stop in, say hi, grab a burger, grab some wings with Jamie's sauce on it. Woo, look out. So that concludes today. I'll be back at 3 p.m. tomorrow, and with another top 5, and we'll do a little news. I want to dive into something this woman in USA Today wrote about how the USA hockey team is indoctrinating the youth of today. I roll. All that tomorrow when I return with KB's Unemployed show. It will be day 79. So when we get to day 80, we'll see if anything special happens. Until then, as I always say, make good choices.
And that's it for this episode of KB's Unemployed show. If you want to follow me on my unemployed journey, just subscribe to my channel below or dive into one of the playlists for all my unemployed action.